How's it going, guys? And welcome back for a kind of different video. When I reached 7,000 subs, I thought it was about time to teach you guys a little bit about Pseudo Nuke. We're gonna touch the subject game tech, which might be a big challenge for some of you guys. But don't worry, I will only go into it a little bit. You guys will perfectly understand what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna go in details whatsoever. But you will get enough knowledge to make your own Pseudo Nuke. If you're fine with that, let's start. Before going into too much, we need to actually know how the cannon works. Now, the cannon works just like normal other cannons. It has two powers right here because we wanted fusion, but you don't really have to make it fusion. But what's going on right here is that we have two powers. The power is on this side right here. It goes 2 ticks before the other one. So in this case, let's place this one. Let's say that this one here has 2 inside it. Now the first thing that happens is that our sand and our Pseudo Nuke goes right here, and then it starts flowing down. As soon as it hits right here, it fires out. So now it is going to the wall. When that is at the wall, that's going to take 2 ticks in between the power. So first of all, we need to place this one right here because it's already at the wall. Once it's at the wall, there's going to be 2 ticks where nothing happens. Then we have our hammer coming in right here, as well as our red sand and scatter. Now, that is going right here in the second power. The first power is gone, it's already shot to the wall. So the second power right here, after 2 ticks, fires to the wall. But in that time period, the sand here, slap bust here, has fallen 1 block. And then when the hammer gets on top of it, it can stack it down. So that's pretty much how that works. Now, let's get into something that's a little bit more difficult, and that is, of course, our game ticks. Game ticks might be a little bit hard to explain, but I'm going to do my best to make it as simple as possible. Now, let's go ahead and talk about game ticks, but don't be afraid, guys. I am not going to go too much in details and make you guys confused. One thing that's so funny about game ticks is that people most likely get scared of hearing the word since they're not familiar with it. But what you are familiar with is the word redstone tick. Now, so let's go ahead and compare the redstone tick with a game tick just to make sure that you guys would understand this. So these two things right here is most likely the same, right? No, there is a difference between redstone ticks and game ticks. Now, redstone ticks controls everything with redstone, meaning it controls the redstone comparator. It controls the redstone, it controls dispensers, it controls pistons, it controls whatever. But when redstone blocks was coming into the actual game, it kinda changed things. Because game tick is when something moves, when something blocks moves. If you change the time of the day, it is the game ticks that changes. So game ticks is not redstone ticks, but it is the game's ticks. So the sun rotates using game ticks. Block moves back and forward using game tick. The heck, even TNT right now is moving using game ticks. So as you can see, the difference isn't really that smart. Yes, game ticks is a majority of the things that you're actually happening in. This is how the TPS goes. It goes in game ticks as well. It ticks in game ticks. The weather is changing in game ticks. The sun is changing in game ticks. The blocks is moving in game ticks. The only thing that's not moving is from the redstone ticks. So game ticks is a little bit different from redstone ticks, but it is majority the same shit. So if you wired a sign up that controlled the weather to something like redstones right here and made some kind of clock right here to change the weather, well, that right there is pretty much what game ticks is. It is what controls the weather, and it's what controls all of these different things, as well as block movement, sand placement, sand falling, all that shit that has to do with the game itself, while redstone ticks is only redstone. So how do you combine these two things? You need to combine game ticks and you need to combine redstone ticks. Now, this right here is easier to combine. Using a piston, you are moving a block, meaning that is game ticks. But if you use redstone repeaters, then that is redstone tick. So you can combine these two things and you get most likely the same, as you can see right here, but it's not exactly the same. Because going back to our Pseudo Nuke, we can here see that I have wired this up to the cycle pressure. Now this look maybe a little bit weird, but trust me, this is for a good reason. To make a Pseudo Nuke, you need to follow something called order of entities. Order of entities is not something I'm gonna get in too much. Don't worry, I'm not gonna go ahead and put it into details. But order of entities is pretty much what you activate first, fires first, or moves first, or whatever. Because Minecraft is made that way that if you have the sand falling before the hammer, well then the sand loads first at the wall. So it's not too complicated, but we're not going to go too much into it. But let's try to fire this cannon. As you can see, while the sand is falling down, we are taking TNT. Now this right here is how we make all of these holes all the way down the wall. Now the way we do this is that as soon as this sand starts falling, we start taking TNT out. So now with these ticks all together, if we test it a little bit, we now have a piece of TNT, every single line of TNT. Oh, sorry, sand. So when this right here is what falls down, as you can see, then we have a TNT when this layer falls down. Then we have a TNT for this layer falling down, and this layer, and this layer, this layer, this layer. So all the way up, we have one TNT each of these layers. The same over here, we have the exact same, so we have one each layer. Now that is what creates all of these massive holes. But how are we using game ticks to actually make this more holes than usual? The way we are doing that is that we are not actually using redstone ticks to make each of these falls. One of them, and I'll say right here, is using redstone ticks, while the other one is using game ticks. Now that might be a little bit weird, but there is a good understanding on why we do this. Because if we have them fall at the same time, there will be 2 rows of sand falling into the cobweb at the exact same time. Now we don't really want that. We want to have it separately so we can actually get TNT in. So this is how it goes. So then this fall, 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 then this fall. As you can see, if we do that, we can get so many more holes because they are all going into separate things. Now that right there is how you can make so many holes, is by making the sand fall at different timings, as well as having the pseudo falling at different timings. Now I'm going to get a little bit more into our game ticks right here, but don't be afraid that I'm not going to go ahead and explain it too much. But before that, make sure you check over here. We have our game ticks as well to match the ones or the sand over here. So now we have 2 different timings. We have the game ticks and we have the redstone ticks. So over here with the game ticks, we also of course have a pseudo nuke right here that is on game ticks, while this one here on redstone ticks follow this one right here. So we can get TNT following each line from this one. And then over here we can make this one due to the game ticks, as well as game ticks over here. We can then combine that and make game ticks or TNT in between each layer of these. Hopefully you guys understood a little bit about this one here. It's kind of hard to explain this game ticks, whatever, but all you gotta think, guys, all you gotta just keep saying to yourself is that redstone ticks is redstone ticks, while game ticks is something different. The game ticks is the entire game's ticks, so this change the water, the sun, the sand falling, everything is controlled by game ticks. Hell, let me show you something. I want to show you something before I end this video. I made a little game tick machine right here, and what this pretty much does is that it counters, or it actually scans the TNT. As you can see, these tripwire hooks, and as soon as I fire TNT through this right here, you should be able to see an entire line right here, right? So that's how your understanding of this works. No, TNT works in game ticks, so you are not going to see whenever I go in like this. You can see how that works. No, that's not how it's gonna work. I'll show you exactly what's going to happen right here. Normally you would think like that, because you know, you see it moving, right? You see it just flowing like that. But if Minecraft made it so it looks like that, well, they must be using something besides redstone ticks, and they're using game ticks. Let me go ahead and fire this cannon right here, and I'll show you how exactly it looks like. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is game ticks. Some of you guys might be familiar with this. Hopefully I'm not making a big deal out of it. I assume a lot of you guys don't understand it. I assume a lot of you guys haven't seen this. But this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is game ticks. From your eye, you probably saw this as moving normally. No, as you can see, it actually moves in game ticks, which is kind of funny, huh? And I think that would be just about it, guys. You have now been taught how to make your own pseudo nuke. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and remember, we only touched game ticks. There is so much more into game ticks and can explain a lot more about it, but it's also important to know when enough is enough. I don't want to confuse you, I just simply want to learn you guys how to make a pseudo nuke. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if you do, remember to check out my giveaway Discord, comment down below, like this video here, and as always guys, remember to subscribe to our channel. My name is Dexter, and I'm out.